Hello! Welcome back to DNQ, and it is semi-final time, baby. AFF Mitsubishi Electric Cup, Thailand versus Malaysia, the second of these two double-legged semi-finals. We have Thailand that topped Group A, taking on Malaysia that deservedly got that runners-up spot in Group B. Both legs, the first of which takes place on the 7th of January at the Bakut Jalil, an opportunity for the Malaysia Massive to make more raucous noise and cheer on their boys. And then the 10th of January, the second leg in Thailand, the final game of this semi-final to close it all out. Tom, mate, great to be on another video with you, our second semi-final preview. How do you see this one going? You have been all over this tournament. Talk me through your early thoughts on this one.
Well, firstly, I'm never letting you do an intro again.
I smashed it.
Yeah, I love it, mate. Love it. Well, I feel like I've seen quite a lot of Thailand and Malaysia, actually. As you know, in years gone by, I used to play as Malaysia on FIFA 2010 World Cup.
You did?
I've always got a little bit of a soft spot for them. And the War Elephants, Thailand, have just kind of picked up where they left off in this tournament, really. As we know, they just love to win it, despite the fact that they are missing some key players. They have had Teerasil still there up front, banging in the goals, and other players, as they've needed, have contributed well. Up against the Malaysia side, that's new look. Obviously, they've had a lot of players unavailable for this one due to the JDT players not being released by the club.
Very true.
It's a new look Malaysia in some ways, with a few new faces and a few naturalised players such as Sergio Aguero in there as well. I must say, Thailand, they've not done anything unexpected. They've been exactly as you'd expect, to be honest. They topped the group on goal difference. I wouldn't say it was a nail-biting final game against Cambodia, but it was an entertaining game. You've got to credit the Cambodians for that. Malaysia, it went down to the final game for them as well. Far more of a quarter-final, that type of game. Obviously, the Causeway Derby between Malaysia and Singapore. Malaysia comfy winners in the end. Singapore finished a relatively poor tournament, despite getting 7 points in quite a heavy defeat to Malaysia in that one, obviously at the Bakut Jalil, and that's where they'll be again for the first leg. 59,000 sold out. It's not the full capacity of the stadium. They've had to restrict it slightly, not 100% sure why. Maybe someone can let us know in the comments why that is. But still 59,000, and they will be making a lot of noise as they did against Singapore. Tactically, not sure if Malaysia will change their game. They go with this 4-2-3-1 system, or tend to start games that way. And then it's quite a unique 4-2-3-1 in that the fullbacks push forward and one of the DMs drops in. I've not actually seen it before with many teams where they go to a 3 at the back with 2 defensive midfielders, and it's either Wilkin or Gan that drops in there. Normally Gan, so that Wilkin can get forward, and he of course got 2 goals in that game against Singapore. But there are a lot of huff and puff, and they have got quality in their side with players like Safawi. Are they good enough to compete with a side of Thailand's quality, though? We saw them against Vietnam, and despite the fact that they huffed and puffed and looked quite good, they did fall flat in that game. Thailand, I wouldn't say they've looked incredible. There is a chink in their armour with the fact that, against obviously sides like Cambodia, they seem to be caught a little bit on the counter-attack. I think that Malaysia will try and use that as much as they can. They have got a lot of pace going forward, with players like Faisal going forward as well. But it'll be really, really interesting. I don't think either side will change their tactics from the group stages at all, if I'm honest. But I think that Malaysia will be looking at that Cambodia game and thinking, okay, we're a little bit better than Cambodia. So how can we, because Cambodia had chances in that game, how can we just enhance on what they've already done? They've given us the blueprint of how to score goals. We just need to cut out conceding them at the same time. And across the 2 legs, I think it's a similar case as the Vietnam-Indonesia game. Malaysia need to go into the second leg with something to hold on to. But I think even if it's level, they've been the kryptonite for Thailand in the past. Can they do it again?
I asked you this in the other preview, and you've sort of touched on it there, mate, in the sense of, do you think that Malaysia, the same way that I asked you about um, Indonesia at the other semi-final, do you think they will change their approach for the home leg, or be more on or take an approach of being more on the front foot, knowing that they've got that what will be a very challenging away leg to come, to give them an advantage? Or, as I said in the other one, they'll be a bit more cautious around staying in the tie, because you could look at it from a reverse perspective. Thailand, when they're at home, they'll be expected by their fans to be on the front foot. And that means, from a Malaysia point of view, they can try and soak up that pressure and spring counter-attacks on that Thailand defence and use their pace and get up the pitch quickly, quick transitions and cause problems. How do you see that one going, just quickly?
Well, I think that Malaysia, I don't think they'll adjust their system at all. I'm not sure with the
Okay.
players they've got available if they've actually got the capacity to. And the reason why I say that is in every single game they've made like for like changes. Locke will come off, Sergio Aguero will come on. They'll take off Safawi and bring on Lee Tuck. They might switch around the three behind the striker, but the system remains exactly the same. And I don't think that they will really tinker with it at all. I just think what you might see in the first leg, or at least the first half of the first leg, is the fullbacks, Reventiran particularly, and I'm not sure if they'll have Azam back. Of course, he got suspended against Vietnam, so I expect that they will have him back for this one. They like to bomb forward, the three tuck in, and they ended up with basically a five behind the striker. I think you might see the wing backs, well, they are full backs, but wing backs just tuck in a little bit. Reventiram and Azam, if it is Azam, just drop, or Chen could be, just drop slightly further back and really form a five or a four to start with. One thing that I will say is, this is a bit of a personal thing, I suppose, but Thailand have got a player, Teerasil, who his knowledge of the game is exceptional. He plays sort of that defensive midfield role. He can play left back as well. I think it'll be important for Thailand to start in the centre of the park and cut out those counter attacks, because Malaysia, they like to sit back, soak up a bit of pressure, and then play the ball long, and they've got a lot of pace going forward. And I think that Tiraton cutting out those passes, as he's done all throughout the group, will be kind of vital in that role. And I think that you'll see, if he plays well, Thailand could end up winning both legs. And I think
Yeah.
that I actually do think that Thailand will win both legs. Would be my kind of early prediction.
I was gonna come on to that, mate. That was gonna be my second question. I had a quick one, and just because you made a really good point when we were speaking about the other semi-final, and how Indonesia, maybe you could say, have only had one challenging match that was against Thailand. The same can be said
Yeah,
about Thailand.
yeah,
They've had one challenge in that first group, the game against Indonesia, and the other games have been, look, there's
comfortable.
been tough, yeah, there's been tough moments in the games themselves, but kind of you'd expect them to have a level of comfort through those other matches. And do you think that will play its part in this one? Will they be caught cold slightly, or do you think, because of the experience that this side have got, especially in this tournament, will see them in good stead, and actually that won't be a problem?
Well, I think that the fact that Group A was slightly easier, or turned out to be slightly easier, will have more of an impact on Indonesia than it will Thailand. I just think that Thailand are that level above in terms of quality. I also think that they're more set up as a team. All right, they've not got Chamberlain, who's a good player for them, but the rest of the side, and I don't expect them to start Adisak. They could do, but I expect them to go with just one up front, Teerasil, to start with. And the fact that they've actually changed tactics throughout games, and I think that they've got a bit more versatility. They can bring on Adisak to go two up front. They can even take off Teerasil. Of course, he is 34, despite the fact that he's top scorer in this tournament with 5. That they can change the system a bit more, and I don't think that the fact that they've only really played Indonesia as a tough game so far will be too detrimental to them. But I think the fact that Malaysia have had a slightly tougher group could make this a little bit closer. I don't think it's detrimental to Thailand, but I think maybe it's been a boost for Malaysia to get through that tough Group B.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. To be honest, I echo your thought. I was just keen to hear your opinion. And then you've already mentioned you think
Yeah.
Thailand are going to win both legs. You care to throw a guess score out for both of those, pal?
I'd be tempted to sort of. I think that both teams will score,
Okay.
potentially in both. I don't think Thailand are all that good at the back, and I think Malaysia will knock at the door enough to get a goal. I think that we'll sort of be looking at 2-1s, 3-2s in kind of both games. Depends a little bit on the scoreline in the
Okay.
first one. I think, by the way, if it's sort of Thailand go into the second leg with a 2-1 advantage, I don't think it's game over. I don't think it's tie over. I think that's one thing that you can say about Malaysia is even if you think they're down and out, they have got goals in them to bring it back. So I'd say both teams to score and Thailand to win both legs. What about yourself?
Really, I'd have said that for the second. You know what? I've got a feeling that um, that Malaysia at the back at Jalil will cause a bit of an upset there, mate. And I think Malaysia will win the first leg. And I think they'll win 2-1,
Yeah.
and then I think Thailand will pull it out the bag in the second leg, a 2-0, a 2-1 win, and then maybe an extra time victory. There is extra time in this tournament, isn't there?
There
But
will
it doesn't
be
go
if
straight
if
to
it comes
penalties.
to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And that's how I see it. So we both see Thailand progressing, albeit maybe with slightly different results in both the games, and that would tee up a Vietnam-Thailand final, wouldn't it? In our books, how we've predicted. How are we? What are we doing for this one, mate? Do you want to let the viewers know? Are we, because we've been live a little bit? Are we doing? What's the D&Q plans?
The D&Q plans for the next kind of week or so until this tournament wraps up is we won't be doing watch-alongs for the semi-final. So you're watching the preview for that now, so don't forget to like this video and subscribe as well. But we will be doing watch-alongs for the final. We may also chuck out a preview for the final as well beforehand, because I'm not sure, Ryan, if you're available for both legs of the final. But we will be doing watch-alongs for the final. But this will be it for the semi-final. So do comment your predictions. Do it before the games, because if we get it wrong and then you predict afterwards, that's not quite the same. But, you know, do whatever you want. Don't forget to dislike the video. And subscribe as well. This has been a brilliant tournament so far, and I'm sure it will continue. Malaysia versus Thailand. How do you think it's going to go? We will see you next time.